Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
That's quite a video collection you've got, Mr. Prescott.
Private acts between consenting adults.
They consent to being taped?
Of course.
Not according to Valerie Baxter.
In case you hadn't noticed, Valerie is a very fragile young lady.
Thanks to you.
Valerie had visions of stardom. I tried to help her. There was only so much I could do with the raw material.
And you did it every which way you could.
Careful, detective.
I assure you, detective, a good time was had by all.
In New York City, sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. These are their stories.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Munch My Benson. My name's Adam. I live in Galveston. Today was a great day for me because I got to cancel work because of high winds. And also my mother-in-law is in town, so I had a babysitter. So I got to devote my entire afternoon to Law and Order SVU, which was a lot of fun. How's your life, Josh?
I'm about to finish working on the show that I'm working on.
Nice.
So that's cool. We're coming up on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So we're having to sort of plan. I think it looks like we're going to do Thanksgiving with Pike and Maya outside.
Oh, that's cool.
And I think we're going to do lobster.
Yeah. A traditional Thanksgiving feast, as it were.
I mean, in the OG sense, yeah.
Yeah.
They totes ate a bunch of lobster.
Yeah, but you're going to have to do it in a traditional clam bake setting where you make a fire on the beach and then you dig a pit in the sand and put the hot rocks surrounding the fire, and that's how you cook the lobster.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening, but we'll see. I don't know if Pike is going to ship in sand to his patio.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Have you been watching anything?
Let me think. Okay, I watched some SVU. I've watched some Breaking Bad. Have I watched anything? I haven't watched shit. I've been taking care of a child, and I've been editing a 2.5 hour long episode of Munch My Benson. That's what I've been doing.
You got it down to an hour 44 though, so you cut 45 minutes.
Oh, fuck my life. But yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Well, your next one's even worse.
It sure is.
The next one you're editing is the epic two-parter.
Mm-hmm.
Lost Reputation, and
yeah, it has another name for the second part, but
yeah,
whatever. It doesn't matter. It was an hour and a half.
The second and third parts of
the
the Kragan waking up with a dead hooker in his bed episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's some wild shit.
That's going to be fun. And mostly that's my fault because I think I talked for an hour about Mitch Pileggi, totally unnecessarily.
You talked a lot about Mitch Pileggi, but whatever. I've actually been watching season 1 X-Files episodes.
Hey, season 1's fun.
Yeah.
It's weird because in the first couple seasons of X-Files, I think the plot episodes are the most compelling ones. In a weird way. And then it switches around season 3 where all of a sudden you realize, oh man, I should have been enjoying those Monster of the Week episodes more because that's where it's at. And those are the awesome ones once you get to like the high period.
Yeah, I think you're also running into an issue where they sort of Lost suffered for the same reason where they don't have the mythology really plotted out well. And so the more shit they throw at the wall, the more shit they have to clean up.
It's true. They never plotted it out. You'd think by the time
not at all.
They got picked up for season 3, they'd been like, well, maybe we should figure out where this is going. but they
but
never did.
it's at that weird zone where shows weren't serialized then.
Yeah,
almost there were almost no serialized television shows. It was almost all episodic procedural stuff. So
I mean, that's what made Twin Peaks such a phenomenon, because it was heavily serialized in a world where nothing else was.
But it also flamed out after 2 years, and the second season was
all over the place.
Yeah, not clean. So, yeah.
So I think because we've been talking for such a long time on some of these recent episodes, we just need to jump into this one. Yeah. This one is kind of a breath of fresh air. I feel like we've been doing a lot of later season episodes, a lot of, we got a lot of Kelly Giddish and others in there. And this one is a season 3 kind of by the numbers classic SVU in a lot of ways, in the kind of old fashioned way.
Yeah. I mean, I'd posit that it isn't very much like them in one very, very, very specific way that we'll get to eventually. But yeah.
But I enjoyed this one a lot. I enjoyed this one a lot. It's called Surveillance. It was season 3, episode 7, right? Is that the episode?
17. 317.
317, sorry. And yeah, let me give you a quick rundown. So, Temperance Brennan from Bones' boyfriend is worn out from last night's steamy escapades, so he leaves her at the stoop of her apartment instead of taking her inside. When she opens the door to her home, she's attacked by a very short, weak person in a mask who bashes her over the head and cuts off a lock of her hair. SVU arrives to investigate, and we discover that the victim's name is Cassie, a cellist in the symphony. It's not clear whether she'd been raped or not, but the assailant definitely wrote the word whore in blood on Cassie's chest. Taru Morales, in his series debut, discovers 3 spy cameras hidden throughout the apartment, covering the living room, bedroom, and of course, the toilet. Cassie's boyfriend points the team in the direction of Robert Prescott, the conductor of the symphony, who also happens to be Cassie's landlord, mentor, and possible suitor. Prescott had a thing for taping willowy young musicians in the throes of passion, and it also seems like he had a violent temper, so he's looking like our guy. A search of the maestro's apartment reveals a vast collection of self-produced sex tapes, but a decidedly low-tech camera setup, which doesn't exactly match with the setup inside Cassie's apartment. After a long night of watching Prescott perform the same series of sexual moves over and over again, SVU eventually finds a video of Cassie, who hasn't been entirely truthful. She was hiding her relationship with Prescott from the cops because she was afraid of the effect it could have on her career. After all, the woman who'd previously lived in Cassie's apartment had been kicked out of the orchestra after breaking up with Prescott. Prescott hadn't done anything like that to Cassie, though, but someone kept sending her flowers and calling the moment she walked in her door every night. Next, a note is found saying "Die Bitch" written in blood on the smashed remains of Cassie's cello. This leads SVU to solicit George Wong's advice. He thinks the attacker might be an erotomanic weirdo obsessed with Cassie from afar, someone she might not even know. Now, Cassie's building had new alarms installed recently, and a talk with the installation company reveals that someone had stolen the uniform and paperwork off of one of their techs. A server is found in a nearby building serviced by the fake installer, but there's only one person viewing the Cassie Germain show, a straggly-haired freak named Terry Willard. Willard's young but protective landlady, Amy, reluctantly lets SVU into his thoroughly groovy apartment, which contains a locked darkroom / extremely creepy shrine to Cassie. Willard's years-long obsession with Cassie led him to jail for credit card fraud and lost him his job at a tech company downtown. He seems to be a lock for the attacker as his behavior is getting increasingly erratic, but SVU is having trouble finding him. So Morales hatches a honeypot scheme to lure Willard to Cassie's symphonic debut, where he is then taken into custody. Though Terry is certainly weird, he seems to be genuinely shocked when Stabler accuses him of the assault. His landlady come side piece Amy posts his bail just as SVU learns that Cassie was shot twice in the back outside her boyfriend's apartment, so the chase is back on. The hunt for Terry leads first to an internet cafe and eventually to a Fleabag motel in my future neighborhood, where Amy is found freshly showered. She tells Benson about the sweet life she and Terry could have lived in Oklahoma if it weren't for, quote, that whore. What's left of Terry is found in the bathroom with his blood and entrails smeared all over the walls. All over the walls. And we are given a Surrey with a fringe on top, Dick Wolf.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Oh, God damn it. I mean...
Shocked at the ending. Totally wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, I've seen the episode, but it's been a long time, and it was like, whoa, wait, what? I did not remember that at all. When Nate Mooney showed up, I was like, oh, fuck, yeah, he's the stalker. I forgot all about that. But holy shit. This is like... We've dealt with maybe 2 episodes that had an as shocking ending as this one. Really, one, just Trade. It was just Trade, and Trade was a little more it was still not obvious, but it was more telegraphed than this was.
I mean, you knew from the first scene with the landlady though that there was something off about her. Just the way she was like, but he's such a nice boy. He would never do anything like that. No, of course.
But then you find out they're fucking, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, then it makes more sense that she would be defending him. But yeah, it was.
I mean, there were.
One of those cackle at the end for like 30 seconds because you're just like, I can't believe the shot of Stabler, where he fucking Zoom trains his gun over to the bathroom door when he sees the pants on the floor. And then he kicks it in, and he's like, they've got that shot from inside the bathtub that that's where the camera's set up.
Yeah.
The shot from inside the bathtub of him with just a fucking towel strewn over his lap.
His broken corpse and footprints of blood
Isn't
around
his head,
the walls.
Against a toilet too or something.
Yeah. Yeah, very un-SVU ending.
Yeah, it was fucking great. I loved the ending so much. I suppose we should talk about the guests, probably.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
touched on the ending a little bit.
Yeah, the first person we need to talk about is Emily Deschanel, is the main character, Cassie, victim. I really don't know what to say about her besides the fact that she was on Bones for 12 seasons, which is shockingly long. But at the same time, season 12 of SVU seems early in the show's run.
Got Michael Nader, who played Robert Prescott, the conductor. He was Farnsworth Dexter, who was Joan Collins' character's third husband on Dynasty. He was also Dimitri Merrick from All My Children, which this was the time where Adam and I would conceivably have maybe watched All My Children. I watched a little bit of it in the late 90s.
I was more of a Days of Our Lives guy, frankly.
Oh, yeah, I was an ABC soaps guy, not NBC. But in 2001, he was arrested for attempting to sell cocaine to an undercover officer.
Hell yeah.
Which resulted in his dismissal from All My Children.
What?
And so that's 2 years before this.
Wow. Okay. That's pretty spicy to be... Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So then we've also got Nate Mooney, obviously, who's playing Terry Willard. He's Ryan McPoyle from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yep.
He went to high school in Franklin, Wisconsin, and graduated from Iowa State with a BS in aerospace engineering.
Interesting.
There's also the weird Sunny connection between Emily Deschanel and Nate Mooney, because Emily Deschanel is married to David Holmby.
Okay, interesting.
Who played cricket and is one of the writers.
Interesting.
So there's probably, I would assume that this might actually be how they might have all gotten together, sort of.
Do you think this episode of SVU launched a love affair to span generations?
Maybe it's I mean, they didn't get together until like David Hornsby. Sorry, I said Holmby before. Yeah. David Hornsby. They got married in 2010.
Okay.
But like I know all of the Sunny guys, or at least Rob McElhenney and Charlie Day had both sort of struggled as actors in New York, and Rob McElhenney is in an episode of either SVU or the original series.
Nice.
Back in the early aughts, maybe even late 90s.
Nice. I thought that both of them were so good. Both Michael Nader and Nate Mooney were really great in their respective roles because they really played up just pervy freaks, both of them.
Oh yeah. There's such a weird overabundance of pervy freaks in this episode. So and then I think lastly, from my perspective of the actors we need to talk about is Jennifer Laura Thompson, who played Amy Slocum, the landlady girlfriend. This is right after she was nominated for a Tony for her turn as Hope Cladwell in Urinetown, which was hot on the heels of her playing Ariel Moore in the original Broadway cast of the Footloose musical.
Oh, weird. Okay.
She also, right after this, replaced Kristen Chenoweth as Glinda in Wicked. And then more recently, she was the originating actress for the role of Cynthia in Dear Evan Hansen.
Okay.
Which is another hot shit Broadway play.
Right.
She's a big Broadway star.
Yeah.
Which doesn't help any of us.
No.
Because none of us know who she is, but she was actually kind of, at this point, you could argue, because she'd just come off a Tony nomination, you could argue that she's actually probably the biggest star in this, unless you want to consider Michael Nader a bigger star.
Yeah, but Emily Deschanel wasn't. Yeah,
Emily Deschanel wasn't like a
thing
known
yet.
name.
Yeah,
2000. This is 2002 or 3. So this is hell. Zoe Deschanel is basically not really in stuff. I think at this point she'd probably been in, maybe she'd been in All the Real Girls.
I don't know. I didn't look up Zoe at all. I was thinking about tying in Zoe a bunch to this, but I was like, I don't.
Yeah, there's no point.
Yeah, I'd have to think about 500 Days of Summer and how much I fucking hate that movie. There's one other actor that we will need to talk about who was in this, but I'm going to leave it until later. Okay. Because when I realized who he was, I was like, "Holy fuck!" And I'm just gonna leave it as a spoiler for later.
Cool. So my first episode note.
Well, we got to talk about Joel De La Fuente too, because this is his first appearance in the show.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him a bunch,
but I feel like this is the biggest Morales episode that we've seen. He's in it a lot. He sets up he's kind of one of the biggest investigators in this whole thing. He finds the camera. Well, he actually doesn't find the cameras, but he finds the second and third cameras and then finds the server. And he's the one who kind of is leading them on the chase to find Terry. And I think he does a great job.
SVU is starting to dip its toes in trying to understand technology.
Exactly. And you can tell they really hit the books in learning what the internet was in this one.
My notes later on are really loving the early 2003 tech talk.
Jesus Christ.
Like what hooks up my computer to the World Wide Web? Or, you mean he's sending his video out over the internet?
I was kind of surprised. They didn't say what DSL stood for, and a few other things.
But they said Internet Service Provider later, so they didn't shorthand ISP, but they did. The L in DSL stands for line, though, right? And they kept saying DSL line.
Digital service line. Yeah.
And then there's also that dumb welcome to the information age.
Oh God, yeah.
It's like the writers just asked their one nerd friend how all this internet stuff works. But it's fun.
He's in 52 episodes over 10 seasons, so he has a pretty good run.
Actually also Peter Herman's second episode.
Okay.
as Trevor Langan. So,
yeah, and he's in a lot as well.
Yeah, he still appears because he's Mr. Hargitay.
Oh, I didn't realize that. See,
Oh,
this
yeah,
is
yeah,
what happens when I don't do any
married.
research about the main cast.
Yeah, they're married.
Nice.
They've been married for a while.
Nice. I would say also that Cassie's boyfriend looks like hot Steve Bannon. Did you notice that? What, am I the only one who thinks that?
Oh, kinda. Yeah, I can see that. Like
it's freaking me out.
Like if you unpickled him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He took off like 30 years and about like 1,000
and 50 years of drinking.
Yeah, 1,000 cases of rot gut wine, and that's what he comes out like.
I want to start at the very first shot because the Foley artist is a pervert. That kissing sound in the opening seconds of the episode was straight up disgusting. Like, it was, it's like one of those sloppy, gross kisses that just like the sound, like they weren't kissing that way, but it's clear that the Foley artist like, oh no, this is going to
turn this up to 11.
11, more like 38.
Ugh.
Like, it was gross.
No, and there's a very strong implications that like last night they had some extremely freaky sex.
You sure you won't come up?
I've got an early session tomorrow. And after last night, I better get some rest.
Oh, yeah. I mean, cellists only get their bone on in freaky ways.
Well, and here's another thing, right? Like, why are cellists always this hyper-sexualized members
it's like
of the
across
orchestra?
the board.
I mean, it's seriously, it's
always
across
the
the board.
cellist.
I have a whole list of hyper-sexualized cellists, from Shelley Long in The Money Pit. First time I've been able to talk about a Tom Hanks film in a long time. We've also got...
I would posit one of his worst films, and I'm not really a big Tom Hanks fan, but...
Yeah, I enjoyed Money Pit when I was like 9 years old. And
fuck. Have you watched it in the last 10 years?
I have not.
It's brutal. It's nigh unwatchable.
But you've also got Sigourney Weaver in Ghostbusters, and I would say in more of a
Mozart in the Jungle?
Yeah, but also in Shortcuts, the Robert Altman classic. You've got
is that Laurie Singer who's the
It
cellist?
was Laurie Singer. Yeah, it was Laurie Singer. And I mean,
speaking of Footloose,
she's celloing naked.
Yeah. I mean, there's full frontal singer in Shortcuts.
There sure is. Yeah. So cello. I guess it's a hot instrument.
The hottest instrument.
I've always been a bassoon man myself.
Said no one ever.
So anyways, the attacker was like clearly short and weak.
But the weird thing is, like, the grunting of her assailant is clearly not female.
Yeah, that is also
so
true.
that's another weird cold open Foley artist. Maybe it's ADR, but probably Foley artist, because that sound is not diegetically recorded in that scene.
No.
Like, they did not have a lav on the stunt, presumably sleight of frame stunt man, because did not really seem to have the build of a female, and surely did not have the build of our actress.
That's true.
Who ends up being the perp.
Who is
Jennifer
not even
Lord,
that short, actually.
No. Yeah, this was clearly not her in black.
Because the assailant was like, it came up to Deschanel's shoulder, maybe.
Well, Deschanel's tall, too.
Yeah, sure.
Or at least seems tall.
I mean, she's very slender and tall.
I'm going to look up her height real quick.
But she sure looks tall. I mean, maybe fucking David Boreanaz is just really short. That would also be possible.
No, Deschanel's 5'9".
Okay, yeah, she's tall.
Yeah. No, David Boreanaz is tall. David Boreanaz is 6'2", 6'3".
Okay.
Isn't it weird how fucking much money David Boreanaz must have?
Because he was like a lead cast member in multiple series that went on.
That went to syndication?
Yeah, well, and were on the air, just their first runs were decades.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, how long was Angel on? I never watched any fucking Angel.
Between Buffy and Angel, he's on the first, 3 seasons of Buffy.
Yeah.
And then he gets 4 seasons of Angel.
12 seasons of Bones.
12 seasons of Bones. Now he's on that other CBS show.
Yeah.
The Unit, or not The Unit, but something like that. Some fucking SEAL Team. Isn't he on SEAL Team?
I don't fucking know, man. I don't know.
I
haven't had real TV in
we can cut all
about
this
a
bullshit
decade.
out. But it's weird. Like both. Okay, so in 2015, Boreanaz and Deschanel, and then two EPs who wrote the books upon which Bones was based, filed suit against Fox, claiming they were cheated out of their share of profits from the series. In February 2019, an arbitrator awarded them $179 million.
Damn.
So on top of all of the normal syndication money that you would get as a lead actor in a 12 season series, the four of them, and obviously their lawyers took probably half of it, but the four of them walked out the door with probably conservatively $25 million apiece.
Damn. Way to go, them. Stick it to Fox, man.
Yeah,
fuck those
Fox.
guys. It's amazing to me that Bones was worth that much money, but
fuck Fox unless they want to buy a series that I write.
Absolutely.
Even then, they're not the ideal spot that I want to land.
Well, I just
you hear bad things. So.
They'll cancel your show after 12 episodes.
Oh, for sure.
Well, okay, so the cameras strewn throughout her apartment struck a nerve for me because the worst job I ever had in my life kind of involves toilet cams in a strange way. So I used to work for less than a month. I worked as a cook at a sushi restaurant in downtown Austin. It eventually was where Silhouette was. You might remember Silhouette. It's 2 blocks down from Little City. But before then, I'm telling you, I totally have blanked on what the name of it was back then. Anyways.
This must have been in like 2002 or something.
Something like that. It was a long time ago. So
not to age us.
Yeah. I knew it was going to be terrible the first day when I walked in because the owner was just like a fucking dickhead. He's like a creepy guy with slicked back hair, and he was unwilling to fill out my tax forms, which was weird. And eventually was just why I was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to pick up the phone. And when I decided to quit and just didn't tell them that I was quitting and just left and never answered the phone, I was like, fuck those guys. Well, anyways, that job sucked. And 2 years later, I found out that he had been arrested when a waitress discovered a closed-circuit camera in the women's room that was trained on the toilet. Now, apparently, she informed the manager, who immediately called the cops, because I'm telling you, the owner fucking sucked. So, like,
yeah,
anybody would think that guy sucked. And I'm sure the manager, I didn't know the person. I'm sure she was like, you know what? You're going down, you motherfucker. Anyways,
it's weird. I've never heard of a restaurant owner in Austin sucking.
Yeah, right.
Being like a total creep.
God, fuck that place. It was the only job I've ever just like quit without notice. In fact, I never even told them that I quit. I just stopped answering the phone until they stopped calling me.
I mean, fuck those people. You know? It's not like neither of us have. It's not like we haven't had enough jobs to where like you know what a shitty fucking owner/boss situation is. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a weird amount of Emily Deschanel not wearing a shirt in this episode.
Yes.
Like, Temperance Brennan is decidedly not sexed up for, like, the entire series of Bones.
Ever.
So it's really, really weird. There are at least, 3 shots of her in a bra?
Yeah. And
I mean, they get that close shirt, or they get the close-up of the chest. It's, you know, from, like, it's from the second button up. Yeah. So, like, but when they show horror, like, scrawled across her chest in blood.
You see most of the chest, yes.
Yeah, it's really odd.
I found the hospital scene to be so weird. Because this is where we see her in a bra.
In front of,
because it's just like, oh, my boyfriend left me some clothes, and she's just going to get dressed in front of Benson while they're talking. But also there's a very awkward exchange between her and the doctor when Benson walks in, because he's, you know, doing like a concussion check on her or something. And he's like, it seems like Benson's walking in on him about to do some kind of creepy sexual thing with her. And he's like, oh, no, I'm done. I'm going to leave.
No.
It also seems like it's not her room because on the wall, there are x-rays of somebody's broken foot. And she did not suffer any foot trauma that we heard about. In fact,
she didn't limp.
Yeah, she didn't limp. But yeah, we do get to see her in a bra in that scene. There's a lot of great like,
and then there's another one later on video too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, where she's with Prescott. There's a lot of punny interplay between everybody in this one. I feel like everybody's punning at each other the whole time, which is fun.
I still say Prescott could have hired somebody.
No, I don't think so. The attacks were too personal for a surrogate. Cards, the flowers, the cello, these are intimate gestures.
Unfortunately, we've eliminated the only two men she's been involved with.
Maybe it's an erotomanic. He believes that he's in a relationship that doesn't exist.
Sounds like name like 4 ex-wives.
We get some really only on SVU comments about seminal fluid and vaginal lacerations. And also the fact that she doesn't, like for a while, we don't know whether she's been raped or not, which is kind of an only on SVU construct, making you think like, well, would you know when you woke up the next day or not?
Yeah, it's like it's still a sexual assault.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess we're parsing whether or not a penis entered her as being the line between rape and not rape. When they go to ask Valerie, who was Prescott's previous other object of affection and attention, his previous, underling paramour.
Yeah, weepy, thin, wan violinist in her case, so less hot than a cellist.
Yeah. Wait, who cares about a violin? So the dynamic being described by her sounds like a more sexualized version of Whiplash, which made me wonder, did Damien Chazelle rip this episode of SVU off?
That's an interesting concept.
And also, wouldn't it have been crazy if J.K. Simmons' character in Whiplash was taping his abuse of Miles Teller? There's probably a version of that movie from his POV where he is doing that, and hate baiting about Miles Teller.
Since we're talking about Prescott and his paramours, they mention when they're spending like an entire night watching the videos that he always does
when they're on tape 10.
Yes, when they're on tape 10, that he always does the same position. Yeah. Oh, there he is with the same position. No, they don't say which one. They don't say missionary. They don't say doggy style. So I'm wondering if it's something, more exotic. Maybe it's the Golden Arch. Maybe it's the butter churner, the chairman, something like that.
I'm guessing it's doggy style, but where he's like standing on the bed and getting a better angle down so the camera catches it.
I'm going with the seated wheelbarrow, frankly. That's a fun one.
Yeah, I mean, that's not... I get where that... But I think the issue for him would probably be he's trying to get the angle right for the armoire camera.
So he's not doing any fucking dog shit like reverse cowgirls so they can put it on tastefully. This is not tasteful, right? We don't think this is going to be a tasteful sex tape.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, this is some tawdry bullshit. Yeah. Maybe it's the champagne room where they're both sitting up on the bed at the end of it, looking at the camera.
I like how they say looks like we have a long night ahead of us as they're gathering all the tapes. Like they're all like, oh god damn it, we got to watch this old guy bone.
I like that also because Finn and Munch are the ones that actually find the Cassie tape.
Yeah, they're having to tag team the tapes.
That implies that all of them are watching these tapes all night. Maybe Kragen's watching another set in the other room.
I hope he has a spotter at least.
God. All right.
I mean, seriously, what are the odds of Bones having two creeps taping her without her knowledge?
I know.
Two different people are
producing sex tapes without her consent.
And this is in 2003. Cameras weren't that prevalent. No one had... It wasn't like everyone had a camera on their person at all times in their cell phone.
Yeah, basically, unless you were the guy from Hogan's Heroes, you weren't making sex tapes at this point.
Yeah. Well, Bob Crane's dead at this point, isn't he?
Probably. But, he made a lot of sex tapes back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Him and John Carpenter.
Yeah.
Not John Carpenter.
I gotta say that fucking Terry... Okay, first off, Terry Willard, another 2 first name. Fuck this shit. But, I'm sorry, I digress. His apartment is fucking amazing and led me down a path
so weird
that made me understand the episode a little bit better. Because This episode, I believe, is an homage to the Michelangelo Antonioni masterpiece Blow Up, which is actually based on a Julio Cortazar short story, which is about someone, a photographer, seeing a crime happening in the background of a photograph he's taken. And it leads to this whole, storyline that it unfolds from there. And I say that because, okay, for one thing, Willard's apartment is like straight out of fucking swinging London in the mid 60s. It is fucking groovy as fuck. He's got cross skis on the wall. He's been missing
all those weird squares painted on the wall too.
Oh, it's so cool. It's like
the series of squares.
Yeah, it's like an Ellsworth Kelly kind of like exhibit inside his apartment. Just the squares painted on his wall, and he's got like. He's been missing from the apartment for over a week at this point, I believe, based on the timeline. And I didn't exactly how many days, but he's been missing for a while. Like all the lights are on, but in an extremely vibey mood lighting. How this guy is not slaying Tang left and right in this pad is beyond me. I mean, I suppose he is, but not exactly.
Weird psycho Oklahoma Tang.
Yes. Now, another thing. So also from Blow Up, the room is kind of like, I forget who the actor is in it, but it kind of like his dark room. But it's more like a classic episode of I'm Alan Partridge called To Kill a Mocking Alan. Wherein Alan, after upsetting a couple Irish TERFs, he gives a shoddy afternoon with Alan talk and meets his biggest fan, who takes him to his house and basically surrounds him with really weird images of Alan. Yeah. And in this one, again, he's like made life-size cutouts of Emily Deschanel in addition to having like photos of her as a child. It's fucking creepy.
Yeah, I was curious. Do you think Bones got to keep the cardboard cutout of her with the cello?
Hey, it's Ryan Seacrest. Life comes at you fast, which is why it's important to find some time to relax. A little you time. Enter Chumba Casino. With no download required, you can jump on anytime, anywhere for the chance to redeem some serious prizes. So treat yourself with Chumba Casino and play over 100 online casino-style games, all for free. Go to ChumbaCasino.com to collect your free welcome bonus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
2001 or 3 or whatever it is. It's 2003, right, when this is filmed? The early 2000s come up a lot.
2002.
9/11 is mentioned a bunch, and the tech crash features prominently in kind of the second half, even though the second time I watched it, I just skipped over the dumb tech guy because it was pointless.
Yeah.
It was basically...
There is a weird moment where you're looking at the guy and you're like, doesn't it seem like he wouldn't be the tech bro that would be showing them around? I mean, tech bro's a thing, but he doesn't seem like a tech bro.
He's a bro, but
he's a bro, but not a tech bro.
He's like a finance bro after work. He's not a tech bro. It's a different guy. But yeah, I see what you mean.
Also, the business is called Web Trends. Which is totally the name of an early season SVU made up tech company.
Oh yeah,
like
it totally
a bunch
is.
Of writers with just like a fleeting relationship to technology. That's what they come up with.
Web Trends. That sounds like a good business. I mean, it does seem like it could have been an early 2000s tech company that would have gone belly up because it didn't do anything useful that Google couldn't do in a heartbeat. Another thing that I want to point out. So Morales, one of the ways he's cracking the case is that he finds Terry's like live journal page and prints it all out and hands it to them. Now, it's clear when he's handing it to them, he's clearly...
It's just a script.
He's clearly handing them the episode script from Surveillance. It's clearly what he's handing
absolutely.
them. Absolutely.
100%. I mean, I've had office jobs. I don't think I've ever worked in an office job where they used Brads.
No one has ever used Brads outside
of the film industry.
Yes, nobody has ever used Brads.
No. So my note is The Legend of Cassie and Terry is absolutely just a script of the episode someone had lying around.
Especially using two Brads with a
two
three-hole
Brads, top
punch.
and bottom only.
Yeah.
Top and bottom. That's
Three-hole
absolutely
punch,
just industry
two Brads.
standard.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, guys. Like, there isn't a single person working on this show that hasn't worked a normal office job.
Yeah, like paper clip,
that would be
staples.
stapled or paper clipped. It wouldn't be three-hole.
I guess
no one uses
as it being almost exactly 45 pages, which is how long this script would have been. It would have been a binder clip, but still, I mean,
right. Or possibly maybe it'd be three-holed, but it'd be in a
binder.
Be like or a binder or a like folio. You know, like a report folio. It would never be presented to somebody in the real world with Brads and no cover.
I remember the first time I was trying to like make a script and I was like, Brads? Where do I, what the fuck are Brads?
Was this when we were doing that My Name is Earl thing?
No, I had like a class once that.
Right.
Oh, funny about My Name is Earl. I was supposed to have Jason Lee on the boat last week, but he canceled. He's a photographer and he's doing a book about Galveston.
And he's out of Denton.
Yeah, he
lives in Denton now.
Apparently, he's into Texas history, and he's doing a thing about Galveston. But so he's supposed to come on and photograph the sunset, but it was too cloudy.
Crabman used to live in our apartment building.
Weird.
Like the first 2 years we were here, he was on the first floor.
Hell yeah, I like Crabman.
Yeah, I like Crabman too.
Um,
Anyway, off of that.
So, okay. So in the same scene, Craig and Munch and Finn do this walk and talk where they're pretending to read the live journal printout. And Cragen goes to a vending machine and just grabs a soda from the bottom of the vending machine. He doesn't put any money in. He doesn't punch any buttons. He just grabs a soda.
He bought it earlier, I bet.
Just left it there.
And everyone's like, oh, that's Cragen's, don't touch it.
I'm really into Wong's look in this. So he's got a black tie with a brown shirt and a browner jacket. And that's bold. Nice look. Yeah, that was a bold, nice look. I don't like it as much as I like Finn's tuxedo look at the concert hall, which I liked a lot.
There's so much weird shit about that concert hall scene. Like, how the fuck does the rat box make it past the cops?
I know.
What kind of operation are they running?
It's not very good.
And then all four of them are fucking, stage. They're off stage right.
Well, and also okay, so the SVU people are the ones who have to go interview these people as they get arrested, right? Don't they have unis doing this work? Terry got through their cordon.
But unis in street clothes, they'd have to be. Yeah. Well, no, it wasn't Terry though. We know that it wasn't Terry because it was her.
Well, yeah, I know, but Terry still got through their cordon.
Yeah,
he was sitting down in the concert hall when they found him.
Yeah, but he wasn't doing. They didn't. I don't think they knew what Terry looked like yet. Did they?
They did. They had pictures of him because that's how. Because they were talking about using facial recognition software, to flex Morales's tech knowledge, and so that's how they were able to find him. He was like the fourth person that they identified. Now, I've been to the symphony before a few times. My parents are fans of classical music. As somebody who's gone to the opera and the symphony and to small concerts, this was not a classical music crowd that was filing into that place.
You mean it wasn't all like
65
50,
plus?
50, I was going to be generous and say 55 in New York, but 55 to 90-year-olds?
Yes. Yeah. There's a decided lack of decaying flesh in there. And also they weren't dressed very nice. Like the people walking by, there's a guy in a leather jacket. The first guy that they track down is wearing a fucking windbreaker. That's not what you wear to Lincoln Center, which is where this is supposed to be. They don't actually call it Lincoln Center, and they don't put it in the address there. But all of the addresses that they mark are kind of surrounding Lincoln Center, which is the big
which would stand a
performing
reason
arts.
that would be where it would be.
Yeah, that's where you would have. Yeah. That's where the skeezy conductor would put up his paramours. I say season 3 Hargitay in a cocktail dress. Yes. And that's basically where my notes start to fizzle out, except I have one last important one. So, in their final track down for when they're racing to find what has happened to Terry Willard, it takes them to an internet cafe, also on the Upper West Side.
Uh-huh.
And there's a young kid online.
An aspirant pervert.
An aspirant pervert watching Emily Deschanel.
That's the other scene where she's in
a bra.
It's that scene,
in a bra. That kid is Greg from Succession. Nicholas Braun.
No fucking way. Seriously?
Yes fucking way. Yes fucking way.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's a huge reveal.
Yeah. Seriously. You can't make a Tomlet without breaking a few Gregs, guys.
Nope. It is holy shit.
It's Nicholas Braun.
I totally missed that.
I was like, who else is in this? That kid kind of looked familiar, but I thought it was just a kid that we'd seen in SVU before.
Yeah.
But he played the, kind of the wiseacre, tough New York kid.
Yeah.
But fucking Greg. I mean, Greg might be the hero of the whole show in a certain way. Maybe also the biggest villain. I don't know. I feel
we'll
like
see how that breaks.
I'm excited about the Greg storyline because I think that there's a lot there.
My last main note, other than that this is like the craziest reveal we've had in a long time, maybe in the entire history of the show, other than, I guess, Cragen waking up with a dead prostitute.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
But that's like everything's building toward that sort of. This is shocking.
It's so out of the blue. You see his Adidas on the floor. And then Elliot's like, oh, fuck. Oh, I have one more note. There's a lot of doors being broken down in this one.
Yeah.
Because, like, Finn's breaking down the locked door to his dark room, and Elliot's breaking down the door to the bathroom. The bathroom wasn't locked. Elliot didn't need to break open that door.
Well, I don't think you do, like, the soft turn on that handle. You don't know. I mean, someone's been shot.
Possibly, but
no. Someone has been shot because
that's true. Oh yeah.
Cassie had already
been shot. That's true.
And they're assuming that he's the killer, not her. Still.
Well, until he sees the Adidas on the floor.
Until the door gets kicked open.
Yeah.
Well, no, because you're still thinking that, he's probably just hiding in the bathroom or something.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know, man. But when she starts fucking talking about Oklahoma,
brushing the Nate Mooney out of her hair.
God.
But my other note is this is such a wild, like, tangled web of people obsessed with other people.
It's true.
Everyone is obsessed with someone else. It's so fucking weird.
Except for, I mean, in a lot of ways, I would say that Prescott is not really obsessed with anybody else. And he's obsessed with himself. Because he's obsessed with seeing himself bang these willowy wand, fucking musician chicks.
That's not really true, though. Because he went to the Casals competition, which is, like, in Spain.
But that's his job. He's a conductor.
I know, but he went to her and pulled her out and groomed her.
Oh, well, he's a groomer.
Yeah, he's a groomer. That's obsessive.
Yeah, that is obsessive. That's true. You're right. Everybody, every character who's basically has more than 5 speaking lines is obsessed with somebody else.
I mean, and you could posit that they make Stabler, Benson, Finn, and Munch all be kind of like, they don't have a choice, but they have to be obsessed with them also because they watch 10 hours of bone sessions to get to the bone sesh. Like, they have watched so much of this guy fuck that they know what his, like, positional proclivities are.
It's so true. To be bored by it.
Yeah, they are completely over it by the time. Like, I guess I'd love to see like a sort of progression of their evening watching the fuck sessions.
They should have done a montage there. That's like Antonioni would have done
for sure,
an Eisensteinian montage of their faces getting.
It would have been a study in the Kuleshov effect.
Seriously, it would have gone from shocked to disgusted to bored is how it would have gone, I think.
Yeah.
If I think he is as perverted as I think he is. Because I don't think he's just doing the missionary position.
No. There's what's the fun in watching yourself do that?
No, exactly. Because,
Just watching your
You're just
ass
watching
grind.
your own ass.
Yeah. There's no view of that. He'd have to really be into his own ass, which would be super weird. I mean, he's clearly up his own ass, but he'd have to be really into watching his ass.
God, he has one of the grossest goatees I've ever seen.
Oh,
the
yeah,
way
that's
like,
late season Dimitri Merrick goatee there.
It's like a pencil stash goatee. Ugh, really gross.
Yep. I mean, that's probably what he looked like when he was trying to sell cocaine to a UC.
Man, that's shocking to me because it just, I would think that daytime soaps would pay pretty well.
Year earlier.
I would think that daytime soaps would pay well enough that you wouldn't need to like sell to people that you don't know.
Yeah,
but
especially pay well for like not really having to do that much work. Or when you are working, you're doing a crazy amount of pages. You're doing like 100 pages a day.
Probably.
But you're only working like 4 days a month.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it's a steady job. It's not going away. It's not
because he'd been on, he started in like 93 or 4.
All right. Do I have anything else? I really don't have that much else.
I think we're good to start rating this.
Yeah, unless you want me to talk about, 60s mod culture anymore, but I don't really need to do that. So let's
try to get out of this under an hour. Huh?
Yeah, let's do that. So as we all want to do, we rate these episodes and we rate them on we have a 4-part scale. It's 1 through 10 on each one of these parts. And we come up with a composite score because we are trying to have a ranking of every goddamn episode of Law and Order SVU, which has just entered its 22nd season.
I just watched the premiere.
Wow. How was it? I did not see it.
I was really trying to bite off a lot more than it probably should have because it was dealing with a lot of BLM stuff. I don't like. I saw a lot of people in the SVU Reddit kind of complaining about it and saying like, "Oh, this is the worst episode ever." It's not the worst episode ever. It's far from that.
It can't be as bad as Asunder. If it's about something, it can't be as bad as.
And I mean, it's still better than pretty much everything that happened in those 2 Michael Chernichen years.
Was that the 1920 those years, or whatever?
Yeah, 19 and 20. 19 and 20 are rough.
I mean, 19 is rough, at least in my experience. Mm-hmm. So so we do quality, we do guess, we do how problematic it was, and the depth and breadth of lives ruined by the episode. Now, I want to start with that one. Because until the last, I would say, 5 seconds of the show, I would say nobody's life was really ruined. I mean, I would kind of say Valerie's life was ruined almost as much as anybody's. Sure.
I would posit that
Cassie took 2 slugs in the back, and so that's going to take a while. And she was assaulted.
And she was also terrorized by someone for a solid, 2 weeks.
And literally everybody is filming her having sex or going to the bathroom.
Yeah, you're never going to have a normal, healthy sex life after that.
No, but still...
You're going to be peace shy always.
But still, I mean, think of the publicity, though, Josh. So she just did her debut, and the day after she does her debut, she gets shot in the back and is in the middle of this massive... Did she do her
debut, though? Because her debut was cut short by the arrest. Like, her debut ended before it really began.
Did it stop, though? You don't think the show went on after that? I mean, they arrested him, but you don't think she continued playing?
I think maybe she did. But, there's no way that doesn't cast a pall over the entire Open.
All I'm saying, it casts a pall, but it casts a pall straight into the pages of the newspapers, which then raises your star. So I don't know. I think that her profile could be huge after this. She could be the biggest cellist in Manhattan after this one. So obviously, she had a lot of trauma. I can't feel too bad about fucking Terry Willard because his life had been in the toilet for. Mm-hmm. A decade since 1997. He had served time. He had lost his web development job, which was a little unclear how he got that, but he seemed to have great, installation, security installation skills. So he could have maybe found another good job after that.
I mean, I could see where the building supervisor or the building superintendent, he might get fired because
he clearly was not living up to his standards. We didn't talk about the super. There was a really good super at Cassie's apartment, but
I would say that he's not a really good super because
there was
not following policy.
Period where he wasn't following policy because he had multiple things going on at the same time.
But this not following policy, this case of not following policy ended up being very important.
It did lead to a woman getting assaulted and a, series of unfortunate events that led to the evisceration of a young man in a Spanish Harlem bathroom. That's true. Who else? Prescott, he's fine.
Well, if he's not fine, fuck him,
Well, but do you think he's getting that video collection back? I think he is.
No, absolutely not.
You don't think they're giving him? You think they're confiscating that?
Yes,
because
that's
according to Cabot, it was totally legal for him to do that.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they need to give it back to him.
That's
civil forfeiture.
Right. Yeah,
that's going straight into the bank.
It's going. Yeah, it's Vic Mackey's requisitioning that. And, just like the Armenian money train. So who else? The boyfriend. The boyfriend honestly seemed kind of self-obsessed to me. He cared more about his meeting than he did about pleasuring Cassie. So I don't think he's going to be too upset. So really, we've got Terry Willard and we've got Cassie.
Yeah.
And Valerie. Valerie's life was ruined. I imagine all the other women, because if there were something like 32 tapes of his sexcapades.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know how many of them are who, but there are presumably a lot of people who he's victimized.
Well, the most recent one, who was not named, is definitely used as evidence of his innocence. And I'm sure she'll find out about that. I thought it was interesting that, I'm just going to go back. Prescott said that, I assure you, detective, a good time was had by all. Now, wouldn't the detectives had been able to tell that from watching the video? Anyways. So what do you want to call this? Because I don't think it was that. I think it was, 4. I mean, people's lives were ruined. It's true. It's not negligible, but...
We don't know how many victims there are. We know how many tapes there are, but we don't know how many victims of Prescott there are. Without a number on that, I think it's hard to place it higher than that.
Okay, but see, I kind of disagree. I think it should go lower than that because we gave a 4 to most recently the George Siegel, Jonathan Tucker episode that we just watched, which was I was going to say The Guys Scared Stiff. That was Abomination. And I feel like more people's lives were ruined in that one. Because that one you have like one murder, but then multiple outings, and you've got, kind of just like this, lots of pain and suffering. We also had a 4 for the Shiri Appleby, TJ Tyne, to bring up Bones again, episode Dearly Beloved.
But there's potential financial ruination about paying for the wedding, not getting your deposits back.
That's true, and that's a big deal. So, I don't know. I guess this is around there. I just kind of felt like it was a little underwhelming with the ruination. Vicinity.
I think Bones gets fucking shot. She goes to the hospital twice in this episode.
She does. But
she really has not done anything to warrant it. Like Prescott, she boned Prescott, but then that was pretty much over. And I don't, she hasn't done anything wrong in boning Prescott.
Okay, so you're right. I mean, 4. And Valerie definitely...
Valerie absolutely is... I mean, she is out of the symphony.
She got fucked over.
She got fucked.
Her career is fucked. I mean, she's a music teacher. That's all she's doing. She's never going to be in a concert again.
Right.
So how problematic was this, Josh? So we're going to give it a 4.
Yeah.
It's problematic, but in an interesting way, because it's problematic in that we're forced to think about... about Robert Prescott's
about what positions he is repeating for presumably the best camera angles from his armoire camera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we think a lot about that. We're forced to think about what kind of life Terry Willard would have had in Oklahoma.
I mean, honestly, really, that pair looked like they could do well in Oklahoma. You set them up in...
Enid, Oklahoma.
Yeah, put them in Enid. They'd do great out there. So what do you think? 3, 2? It's not very problematic, is it?
I'm trying to think if we're missing anything really. There's not much that's problematic about this. I don't think. I think it's 2 or 3 probably.
Okay, one thing that I find problematic is that Terry Willard had that fucking groovy apartment, and yet this is what his life had been reduced to. So I have a problem there.
There's also, leaving porn up in a coffee shop for this kid for Greg to watch.
That's hysterical.
That's amazing. That's so fucking funny.
That's the best part, and we barely talked about it. There's just a kid watching porn at a fucking coffee shop.
There's a lot of taping people against their will. There's a lot of
everybody is taping somebody against their will.
Yeah, like this episode of SVU presupposes a New York in which everyone is recording everyone else fucking. Like, that's crazy. Like, how many people are damaged because of this episode and
or
feeling
that it's
like
just...
they can't have sex without knowing for sure? Like, they're having to do sweeps after this, right? They're sweeping the entire apartment.
Seriously, the entire neighborhood. Or you could just innocently walk into an Upper West Side internet cafe and see a fucking 8-year-old kid watching porn.
Yeah, it's pretty spectacular.
Okay, but what? Like, I think 3?
It's not a 2 because it's higher than that. There's a lot of this. What hell hath technology wrought? Towards sexuality. That's really fucking fun.
It's true. Because like, God, yeah, technology has really fucked us up. Okay, so 3. I'm going to give it a 3.
Yeah, that's fine.
The guests. I thought the guests were good. I don't know if Emily Deschanel is great, but she does her role just fine. And
it's early for her.
Yeah. And I thought the other people, though, Prescott was good. I thought
Nate Mooney
Willard was good. He was great. Yeah, he was great. I wish he'd kind of been on more, but he was great.
Jennifer Laura Thompson was pretty awesome as insane girlfriend landlady.
She really was. I mean, she really did come across as insane from the first time she was on, and you didn't really know exactly why until the last shot of her eyeball. Because it really, at the end, it's just her eyeball quivering as she's talking about going to Oklahoma. And what does she say? Her last line is, I didn't know what else to do. She has so many men. Terry is all that I have. And her eyes just like quivering there. She was great.
Yeah, she was fantastic.
What do you think? 5?
Yeah.
6? I'm trying to look around.
Yeah, I would say 6 because like the primary Vic is, well, really the 2 primary Vics are both sort of, at this point well known. I mean, Emily Deschanel is obviously, she's the fucking title character on a 12-season show.
Yeah. However,
this is that, but it's still sort of like you're still seeing a weird departure from that character.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And I think ultimately that's fun.
In some ways, because I could see like, a cellist and a forensic pathologist.
What episode of Bones was she getting recorded fucking in?
That's true. That's true, but it wasn't with
by
her knowledge,
multiple people.
It's not like she was the freak, right? She was the victim, and I could see Bones. Bones is clever, and she would have figured it out. But yes, it's against type, but not like radically against type.
But it's against type in a way that's fun.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. It was very fun. I maybe we can go higher. I'm trying to think.
I think 6 is fine. I think 6 works. I think we're dealing with like a pretty big name.
Mm-hmm. And we're dealing with but I think that it's fleshed out pretty well. Yeah. She's not a massive name at this point, but she's good.
I mean, when we are watching it now, I would say that
she's a big name. I mean, she's instantly recognizable,
yes.
Obviously. And she's not, I don't think she's the best guest star in this. I think she's actually kind of one of the worst. But
I mean, I don't know that's
she's
through
good.
Fault of hers.
Yeah, she's totally serviceable. She's not bad.
I think the character is It can't be easy to just play the object of three men's affection, and that's all you are.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
where your
true.
entire identity, I mean, yeah, you can play the cello, but your entire identity is really wrapped up within the construct of this episode as you are the object of these men's obsessions.
We actually see her play the cello for about 5 seconds.
I'm sure it was her actually playing the notes too.
It absolutely wasn't, because you could tell by her where her fingers were. But interestingly enough, speaking of other sexy cellists on screen, Laurie Singer is a well-regarded cellist. So when they were filming Shortcuts, Laurie Singer was playing the fuck out of that cello naked.
Right on.
FYI. Yeah, which I thought was pretty badass. So quality, I think this was good.
I think this is a lot of fun.
I thought it was a lot of fun.
And
it moved.
It doesn't have for starters, it doesn't really even go to court.
No.
You know,
I mean, Cabot's in it.
Cabot's in it, but there's no courtroom scenes.
No, it's great. There's no courtroom scenes, and yet I felt like I learned more about the law in this one than I usually do in an SVU episode, because we didn't really talk about Cabot's role, but Cabot gave some nuggets of wisdom about privacy laws that were actually pretty interesting.
Yes, absolutely. No, I think this episode is. It's also got Wong doing his thing and doing it well, but not like overtaking the episode.
It was a really good ensemble performance from the whole cast. I thought every single main cast member had a role to play, and they were good in it.
Right. And it wasn't saddled with courtroom shit that usually is like the ceasing to a halt of where the episode's interesting. Like the sort of evolving mystery of what's going on keeps going until really the very end of the episode. You get the rare SVU episode where, oh no, there's a fucking bomb drop at the end. You know,
but it's a real mystery. It's rare that it's a mystery.
Yeah, you almost always have figured out who it is because of stunt casting. And this one, like in New York acting circles, maybe Jennifer Laura Thompson was the most famous person in the cast at this point. But
very specific world.
Yeah. But for any of us, we don't know who she is, and so
in 2020,
you don't have those alarm bells setting off. You wouldn't have known who she was then either. No one knew like who she was from Urinetown, even though she was nominated for a Tony for it.
Is that You're in Town or
no,
You're in Town?
Nice. URINE town.
Nice.
One word. Yeah.
So I'm looking at other numbers that we've given to good episodes, and I think this is an 8.
Yeah, no, same. I was thinking this is about what Trade was.
Yeah, we gave Trade a 10 because it was just so fun.
Yeah, Trade is a lot more insane, but I would say this is like an 8 overall.
We've been watching 8 overalls recently because we gave Rhodium Nights the part 1 of the 3-parter. We gave that an 8. And I think that fits. We gave Russian Brides, the last one we watched, an 8, and I think that fits. But I think it's a tick below Military Justice, which I think...
Yeah, I think Military Justice is a better episode.
Yeah, and it's definitely a tick below Hooked, which we gave a 9. So we can't give it I can't believe we...
Ridicule's a 9 too, right?
10, we've given 9s to Juvenile. We've given 9.5 to Ridicule.
Okay.
9 to Military Justice.
And
9
I would guess
Hooked.
if we went back and did Ridicule again, we'd give it a 10 at this point.
Probably. We gave a 10 to Trade. I can't believe we gave a 9 to Hooked. But
I had some issues with Hooked. I didn't think I think Hooked was insane, but I think as an overall episode, I don't know that it's as good as as a 10.
Yeah, that's true. And it really wasn't, the episode wasn't as good as some of the other things
the episode wasn't as good as Ridicule. Ridicule was much better.
That's true. Ridicule was a better episode. And Trade was so fun that it's hard to...
I mean, what the fuck?
So
Trade
fun.
is still so crazy. I mean, I'm laughing thinking about Trade right now.
Okay, so with that, it gives us a composite score of 5.25, which... I mean, might seem a tick low, but at the same time, this is the kind of episode, honestly, that I don't think it's going to stick with me very long.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was fun to watch it, but it also just kind of feels in a weird way, just like that's what SVU was like for a long time, where you just had these episodes that kind of just came and went.
Right.
And they're not it's not the radical stunt casting of, you know, Dylan McKay rapist,
or
which
Michael
eventually
Gross,
we'll get to.
Michael Gross, wife murderer.
yeah. It's not just like insane.
Yeah. Michael Gross is not beating his wife to death in a park with a fucking branch.
Yeah, it's not where we're seeing a major character waking up in a pool of a prostitute's blood right next to him.
Yes.
You know, we're not seeing that, and so it's good, but not all time.
Well, and there's not the ruination or the like insanely problematic shit that, you know,
exactly
an episode would need to set itself apart.
Though this one was so weird in a different way. So it's kind of interesting because I feel like you're right about the fact that everybody in this episode was completely fucking nuts and watching each other.
Yeah.
And so it has a very...
Maybe we need to revise problematic a little bit because of how much voyeurism is playing a role in this. I think we probably need to kick voyeurism. The voyeurism stuff is all really fun. And
but I think if this
sort of
were
like
made...
we're getting SVU doing fucking Rear Window almost.
But that's what I'm saying. If this were made by an auteur director in the 60s or 70s, this would have been extremely problematic. You know, this is like proto conversation, proto blow up, and with the right kind of lens looking at it, it would have been so fucking weird and cool. And I don't know, maybe SVU is not the right venue for that, but I think you're right. We could bring that to a 5 if you want to talk about how
I think we
voyeuristic everybody is.
Yeah, because it's really fucked how insane, like everybody in this episode is obsessed with everybody else's sex lives.
Okay, so yeah, and I mean, we're thinking about it. Where else do we have a 5? I mean, it kind of, so 5 we gave to Persona. Donnelly's essentially Destroyer.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes sense because Brenda Blethyn was
and there's all the insane shit about with the first 2 acts.
The Clea Duvall part was insane, but then also Brenda Blethyn was like lying to her husband for fucking 40 years.
Yeah, that's fucking bad shit.
Yeah, so this is kind of like in that vein. So okay, we'll move it to 5. Does 5 work for you?
Yeah. I think a world in which everyone are clear perverts.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that is pretty funny. So that gives it a 5.75.
Okay.
And I think
I feel like it's closer to a 6 than a 5.
Yeah,
overall.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. All right. So are we ready to roll the next episode and put this one in the bag? We've only been doing it for an hour and 20 minutes.
God damn it. We can't win.
We can cut a little bit of this though.
For sure. Okay, so I am about to roll the dice. And we have Prodigy, which is also directed by Stephen Schill, who directed this week's episode. This is season 3, episode 13. So we're getting 7 episodes earlier, or 4 episodes earlier, rather. So this is when an animal rights activist is found decapitated in the park. Awesome.
Nice.
Benson and Stabler must determine which of their 2 main suspects, a sociopathic teenager and a recently paroled rapist, is responsible for the murder. That sounds like a ton of fun. Looking at the guest stars, I can't say that any of them look like names that I recognize. Oh, Michael Pitt's in it. Never mind.
Yeah, Michael Pitt's in it.
Yeah.
That's the only one that really immediately I recognize.
Yeah. Michael Pitt, who drank and drugged his way off of Boardwalk Empire and completely killed the entire arc of that series. But, yeah, I remember seeing him at some dumb South by party that I was having to work once.
Oh, I think they get to go to New Jersey.
Oh, let's hope.
So, all right, man. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, this should be. I think this should be a fun one.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a fucking animal rights activist decapitated in the park. That's what we're gonna open on. So that's fun.
Yeah, I can just tell that just from where this starts that it's gonna be pretty amazing.
Cool.
But let's do this next time. So I'll see you next week, Josh.
Yeah.
And until then, keep on munching our Bensons, guys.
Yeah, munch all of our Bensons, please. Oh, and also rate, review, do all that. It
You know, send us that on Twitter so I can send you a koozie if you're into koozies. If you're, you know,
you should be into preserving the cool of your beer.
Absolutely, or the warm of your hand. You know, depending on what the temperature outside is.
Let's preserve those chills, man.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Take care.
Later.
I was gonna take him home to Oklahoma so we could make a new life. But Terry wouldn't leave that whore.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.